Hi again and welcome. This is Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast, and this is episode number 59. I'm Phil Tower, executive producer of this program, and in just a moment we'll meet Al Schwinkendorf and John Puhek. We are on location for this episode. I'll talk about that in a minute too. Remind you that Michigan's AutoTalk is about everything about the automobile. It's trucks, it's wheels, it's every part of the automobile. It's also about helping and supporting you, the car and truck owners across our great state of Michigan. To my right, if you're keeping score at home, is Al Schwinkendorf. To my far right is John Puhek. We're across this big, beautiful conference table inside part of the Gilmore Car Museum here in Hickory Corners, Michigan, which most people never get the opportunity to walk into. And we're really pleased to be the guest of Josh Russell. We're very pleased to be with the executive director. Is that the right title? Executive Director, President, Gilmore Car Museum?
It is. Right? Yep, that's correct.
All right.
For at least for about coming up on 2 years, but it's still pretty recent.
We had you on about a year ago, I think, maybe a year and a half ago.
Absolutely.
I remember that. And you were a newbie. You're a Western Michigan grad.
Correct.
I remember that.
Yeah, good memory, yes.
Go Broncos. It hurts for me to say as a Chippewa, but I'll just say it anyway. So what do you think, guys? This is not a bad setup, huh?
Nope, not at all.
Very nice.
So we want to talk about the events. We are going to spend the next couple of episodes talking about the Gilmore Car Museum because there's so much to do here. And really, this has become one of the premier family destinations for Michigan, for anyone in Michigan, for anyone in the Midwest. This is by far, I think, one of the greatest collection of cars in the United States, and it's just in a beautiful setting. From Grand Rapids, it's typically about a 45-minute to a 50-minute drive, and from the Kalamazoo area, anywhere in the state of Michigan. We are Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast, but on the Gilmore website, you have plenty of directions to get here. It's not hard to find once you're here. And I wanted to talk about this idea of bringing all these great musical acts in. I know one of your awesome team members, Emily, is with us for this episode, but how did this all come about, Josh Russell?
Sure. Thank you for asking. I mean, as you mentioned, we have an incredible collection inside the museum of 400 cars and motorcycles across all the partner museums here, and we've got more than 25 different car shows on the calendar, and Wednesday night cruisins every week during kind of the warm weather season. But a couple of years ago, the team here, during the pandemic, kind of pilot tested 2 concerts to say, what can we do with the grounds, with the beautiful space out here, with all of our members and folks who were part of the Gilmore community. And so they had some success with testing out the first 2 tribute bands. One was a Beatles tribute band, and the other was a Journey tribute band. And it really kind of sparked the idea to say, Let's try to go out and have a full concert schedule. Let's add more music to some of the car shows and enhance the programming and provide an even better guest experience out here. And we're doing that with the combination of music and food and beverage and special guests and all those kinds of things with each of our different shows. But for this year, we've rolled out for 5 of the big primary concerts the idea of tying cars back into it, go figure, at the Gilmore Museum. Carload Concerts, where for $40, you buy a $40 ticket for the car, and as many as your friends or family members that you want to cram into the car and drive in, everybody gets into the show for $40 so you can enjoy it.
Now, does that count if we can shove them in the back of the trunk, like when we were going back in the drive-in days? How do you want to do this?
I'm intrigued by that, and the whole, you see the old footage of how many people they tried to fit in a Volkswagen Beetle, or how many people that they fit in different cars. I can't take responsibility for what you do out on the public roadways, but if you wanted to come in and then have that ticket for the car and cram a bunch of folks in, then by all means. But
at least in the modern cars, they have that little neon green or little fancy quick release where it shows the person pulling it out. So
sure.
Worst case, you got that at least.
That's right. That's right. So we have a handful of shows this year. Everything is on, all the events, all the concerts. Everything is easy to look up on GilmoreCarMuseum.org. We have a really great new website last year, and it's really terrific and dynamic and provides all the information. But the range of acts for the Carload Concerts this year are from the Insiders, a Tom Petty tribute band that's great out of Grand Rapids, as the pre-party for the Relics Riot traditional hot rod and custom show. In August, we've got the Surfragettes coming from Toronto, and they're a killer all-girls 60s surf rock band that dresses the part and everything from the 60s with the go-go boots and everything else, but they just shred the guitars. It's terrific. We've got the Rock Show, which is like an 80s arena rock tribute band in August, and the Lovettes also coming in from Chicago. They're 40s, 50s, 60s girl group tribute band. So think like doing all the songs of everything from the Andrews Sisters to Diana Ross and the Supremes to the Shirelles to the Ronettes. That'll be a nice night in August. And then right after our Ultimate Truck Show in September, we got Looking Back, a Bob Seger tribute band out of Detroit. And then things like during the Muscle Car, the McCacken Muscle Car meetup on June 25th, we'll have Led Zeppelin 2. We'll be getting the Let Out in the afternoon during the show at 2 p.m., and we'll have a Led Zeppelin show during the car show. So those are the kinds of things we're trying to bring to the table here for our guests.
So for the people who have been to the museum, for those listening to us, is that going to be, do they play in the center kind of courtyard area then? Is that where that's going to be?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
The stage is going to be, the stage for all these shows that I've mentioned will be in that central courtyard right next to our Campagna barn, or the central lawns of the museum. The only one that'll be a little bit different because they require a much larger stage is continuing our partnership from last year with the Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra. The entire Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra will be here the night of Saturday, July 16th, performing Gershwin and American in Paris, and we're going to incorporate some of the taxi cabs from the era that we have into the show, but we'll have a full Kalamazoo Symphony Orchestra performance that night, and it's the night of Saturday, July the 16th. Is the night after our Celebration of Brass car show. So the early cars, the pre-1916 brass cars. So we had a terrific turnout last year for those shows. Branford Marsalis last year was one of the guest musicians with the symphony. So we're looking forward to having the Kalamazoo Symphony back this year for a nice outdoor summer concert night.
So if you bring the family and we go to one of the big shows, what's the cost for somebody to get in on something like that?
So if you walk into the museum just to enjoy the show as a spectator, it's the adult tickets are $16. Kids 10 and under are always free. If you drive a car in to participate in one of the shows, the registration for the vast majority of all of our shows is $20 per car.
Okay.
And that gets the car registered for the show for you to park inside.
Yep.
And it provides admission for 2 people.
Okay.
So, it's actually a value.
Cheaper than most local
it's a value
shows, or
compared.
cheaper than taking a family to a movie.
Exactly.
Really.
And then when you're there for the show, you're there for the car show or the boat show or, whatever it is. Then you not only get to participate in the show and check out all the cars or vehicles out on the lawn, but then all
the barns are open.
Everything's open to you.
Yep.
The entire museum's open to you, and hopefully you can make a really nice day of it.
You've been doing car shows at the Gilmore, Josh Russell, for a long time, but I think back and I remember my dad was a collector. He instilled a love of cars for me. The Red Barn Spectacular was the big one.
So more than 40 years at this point. Yeah, it's
so that
significant.
That is the big one.
It's the granddaddy. Yeah,
That's
no
impressive.
doubt.
Yeah.
Saturday, August 6th, it's just amazing. By the way, if you're listening to this episode, this is the June 2nd episode, so anything happening in the month of June, hopefully you're listening before these events we talked to, but regardless, they happen all the way into October, and it's just an incredible lineup. I mean, it's everything. I've done the Vintage Motorcycle Weekend. I'm
That's a good one.
I'm not a
that.
motorcycle guy, but my 2 boys, their tongues were hanging out. They loved that. The Vintage camper weekend. I know you do that.
Yeah, the boats and travel trailers was just a couple weeks ago.
That was a couple of weeks ago.
It was a great
because they were all over the road. Up in Grand Rapids and that. It's like, what's going on?
It was a really nice turnout. We decided this year, and we'll, I believe, continue to do it next year and into future years. It was really neat to have classic boats and the vintage travel trailers, and we combined it. It was like a 3-in-1 kind of event day. We combined it with our Corks and Crafts outdoor tented wine tasting, beer tasting, and spirits tasting event. So you had folks who were like, and we had a surf rock band out here called Guitar Up, and it was a nice way for folks to enjoy the day. Again, different groups of enthusiasts, boat people, trailer people, and then folks who enjoy their, beer, wine, and spirits. But to be able to go out and enjoy one another's like vehicles and to go, check it out and enjoy some music and we had a really nice day for it. So I see that continuing into the future.
Well, and the cool thing about this is, families in the summer already have their plans and stuff, but there's something, first, second, third, there's no bad choices in here. I don't think I'd make it to Volvo's at the Gilmore.
But it's also happening along with the air-cooled gathering. So that's sponsored by our Franklin Partner Museum. So that's everything from Franklin's to Corvairs to Porsches to anything air-cooled.
Really none here that I wouldn't go see, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. The hope is that we only have here in Michigan, for all of us, we only have so many warm weather weekends to try to schedule. But we do try to make sure that there's a different day or a different show for each group that's really into something, right? There's still the Camaro show, there's the Corvette show, there's the muscle car days, there's Mad Dogs and Englishmen for the folks who are way into British cars, there's Deutsche Marks for the German car people, right? Like, and as you said, motorcycles, vintage bikes, and everything. Actually, interestingly, on the vintage motorcycle show, we have a new a fellow who's going to be involved in that show is helping us promote it and is going to put on a special ride, an antique motorcycle ride this year. A guy named Randy Hayward from Detroit. Everybody calls him Detroit, but he's very involved with Harley Davidson and the Race of Gentlemen, and has been in some of their ad campaigns and is a builder and rides, but he puts on the Detroit, the Dam show in Detroit, Detroit Antique Motorcycle Show, and he's expanding that to like San Francisco, and he told me to an event in Italy now that he's organizing a Dam ride at the Gilmore Vintage Motorcycle Show to try to encourage and get more folks from the eastern side of the state to come out here and enjoy the Gilmore Museum campus, check things out, and see our newly renovated motorcycle museum.
This whole area back in my motorcycle days would be a destination every weekend.
It's great riding.
There's so many nice places to go around here and very few cops and things of that nature. So
exactly.
We used to come spend a lot of Sunday mornings down this way.
By the way, everything we're talking about, GilmoreCarMuseum.org, GilmoreCarMuseum.org is a really cool, it's completely distracting me as we record this podcast, a video that's rolling on the front page of the website with a lot of eye candy.
He's not drinking; he's just distracted.
It's distracted.
That's what you call it. Is that what you call it?
Yeah. No.
I'm distracted at work all the time.
Let's say, usually, like on your shows, what kind of hours? When do they start? When do you shut them down?
Yeah, usually we advertise the shows typically as going from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That kind of thing. The gates usually open before 8 a.m. For cars that are actually coming in, people who are exhibiting cars or bikes. And we usually try to do awards sometime around for those shows that have awards around 2 or 3 p.m. Okay. So just
you can come for a few hours or the whole day.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Well, and I've never been to like Churchill Downs or any of the fancy horse racing places, but when you turn the corner and you show up to this place with the fences and the barns
it's
and
spectacular.
The grass, it is just like, this is fancy. So
it either looks like a southern plantation, or a really cool collection of cars out in the middle of the country, and that's really what it is. And I want to ask you, just because we can get into an argument at the end of this episode, as we are nearing the end, as we talk about all the great events happening at the Gilmore Car Museum. Muscle cars And these guys, I guess we can. Muscle cars means what to Gilmore? What cars are welcome at that show? I mean, is that loose or do you have a definition?
That show in particular, it's kind of new for this year. It is a new muscle car show for this year.
Okay.
We've partnered with McCacken, for those who have heard of it, Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. It's kind of the premier indoor national show for muscle cars with real rigorous judging that takes place outside of Chicago each November. So we've created with McCacken the McCacken Muscle Car Meetup at the Gilmore, and it's the summertime, low-key, drive your muscle car out and enjoy kind of show to be the summer counterpoint to the winter indoor show. There's not much driving of muscle cars happening in Chicago in November. So to be able to let all those muscle car enthusiasts, whether they're folks who are way into the original muscle cars from the 60s or 70s, or they might have a Monte Carlo SS from the 80s, or they've got a Fox Body Mustang, or they've got a brand new, Charger Mustang or Camaro, to let them, or Challenger, to let them all, let's all come drive these roads, do some driving tours around the area here, drive over from Chicago, Detroit, Ohio, everywhere in Michigan, and have kind of a summertime meeting point and a Led Zeppelin band playing this year.
Doesn't hurt at all.
It doesn't hurt. So that'll be a new one for us this year. And so we do welcome kind of all eras of muscle cars for that one. However, the central show field will be parked. That'll be the McCacken invited previous winners. That'll be a special show field for invited owners of cars that have won all kinds of awards at McCacken
snobs.
events.
They're the snobs. They got the paint number matching. Oh, look at me! I've got this, RPO code. But yeah,
maybe
don't get me going.
Maybe so, but if they actually bring them out here or trailer them or decide to drive them, for goodness sake, like why not? And sharing those with everybody will be cool.
Yeah. By the way, real quickly before we wrap this up. Cruise nights too. This is a Wednesday night as we are recording episode 59 here, and those happen throughout the summer. Pretty much just show up 5 to 8 p.m.
5 to 8 p.m. Wednesdays from May through end of September, and you're exactly right. Those are open to. It's free to the public, and those are open to any cars. There's no restriction in terms of age. But they've grown to the point out here. It's been really wild for all of us. I mean, on average, before it had been like 300, 500 cars. It grew last year to several nights where we had more than 1,000 or 1,100 cars and a couple thousand people. Wow. And our bar is open, our diner's open, the 1941 grill, or the 1941 diner's open, the grill is open. So there's food and beverage. We have a local band or artist playing each week. So there's live music, but really it's just a community of car people and of our museum members and folks who, kind of add it to their weekly schedule. It kind of breaks up the week before coming to the car show or coming to a different thing on the weekend. There's something on Wednesday night to look forward to after work.
Yep.
And you had me at bar.
Yeah, I was going to say. And just one advisory, the museum is not open on those cruise nights, but everything else you'd want, you can get got a bite to eat, you can get a cold adult beverage or soda for the kids or whatever, and just enjoy a great time. And those are on all the Wednesdays throughout the rest of the season. Again, to learn more, GilmoreCarMuseum.com, GilmoreCarMuseum.org. Sorry, I knew I was going to do that. I have to, wait a minute. There it is. It's in front of me. It's the website, GilmoreCarMuseum.org. Josh Russell, President, Executive Director of the Gilmore Car Museum, with us on this episode of Michigan's Auto Talk Podcast. We remind you that we are on Facebook, facebook.com/Michigan's Auto Talk, and make sure you share this episode with a friend. Coming up in episode 60, we're going to explore more of our visit here at the Gilmore Car Museum. Until next time, I'm producer Phil Tower.
I'm Schwinkendorf.
I'm John Puhek. Thanks for listening.